He's doing pretty good. You know, he was an infielder as a younger player. I actually saw him take a few ground balls early in the recruiting process, and I thought he was pretty good. Then he grew a lot, and I became a full-time outfielder. He actually played center field his senior year in high school, and talked to him about it right before fall ball started. Been thinking about it all summer, and he was all for it. Try to play some first base. His comment to me is, I can play outfield, you know, in my sleep almost. So he still gets his work in the outfield, but he spends most of the time, I'd say 95% of the time, with the infielders this fall.
Well, what made you think that would be a good idea?
Well, just open up another spot in the outfield, because we've got some guys that can play outfield that can help us offensively, and they're good defenders. And we thought Heston would be a good target. For him personally, I thought that this being his junior year, obviously he's going to be drafted this summer, and he's going to be a really good draft. I've seen a couple of first basemen go off the board in the first round, or at least one last year, and another one's projected this year. I just thought it might help him a little bit financially and to make him more valuable. But more than anything, I just felt like it would be an option for our team that could make us better.
That's a bit hard.
You know, he's still to the point where he's, you know, starting to lift light weights and move around, but he's not playing any baseball at all as far as throwing, obviously, and can't swing a bat yet. So, you know, he's disappointed because he sees the competition, and obviously this is a big year for him. He's coming off a really good year, and we needed to work him out at first base as much as we could, or a corner outfield spot, which he'll have an opportunity to grab one of those spots in the spring. But you know, he's still week to week. He's got a ways to go.
Would you say fall ball's going overall?
I think overall it's been good. You know, up until really the last few days, no one's really gotten hurt. We had one of our transfer students, Braden Webb, get hurt yesterday. He's one of our starters. He made a great diving catch in left field and hurt his shoulder. He probably won't be playing for a while, and definitely won't be playing tomorrow. But it's been good because we've got to scrimmage a lot, see a lot of the young arms. Returners seem to be better than they were. They're stronger. I'm one of those guys that I don't go crazy in fall ball trying to put everything in. I think you just have to pace yourself. The way our game works, when we get off the field in October, we can work out inside, we can work out here, and just
welcome in. It's a Friday. It's the A. We all know what that means. It's time to get you guys ready for the 6:30 p.m. kickoff. Arkansas takes on the San Jose State Spartans. Donald W. Reynolds, as I said, kickoff tomorrow night, 6:30. Came in with a little audio from Arkansas head baseball coach Dave Van Horn, as they will be having an inter-squad scrimmage, or a scrimmage versus the Oklahoma Sooners baseball program tonight at 7:30 at Baum Stadium. So get out, check it all out. But I want to bring in real quick my co-host, because we got a good one today. I'm pretty fired up about this show, Demetrius. Really, really fired up. We have an in-studio guest. Not going to tell you who it is, but he's a former Razorback, played in the NFL, did quite a few things as a Razorback, and had quite the Cotton Bowl. But we won't give any goodies away. But I want to bring in Demetrius. How excited do you think these people will be when they see the in-home guest? The in-house guest, I should say.
You know, I just think it shows our progression as a company. Just things we're adding and incorporating. We weren't able to do things like this at our own personal studio, you know, a year ago. So I'm just really glad that we're still progressing as a company and still reaching new heights.
I want to give all our condolences out to the families of Beaumont, Texas, and Houston, the Houston area, as they're going through a very, very bad storm, a lot of flooding. So from us here on the OTH, our prayers are with you all for a very, very safe and productive rebuild. But we want to get on here and let's get this show started. Coming up, it's going to be Scotty Borderland. It's time to talk a little bit with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette's guy that we always bring on to get the 411. So we're going to start it off. I believe we have some Heston Kirstad. Had a chance to meet with him yesterday to talk about this upcoming ball game versus Oklahoma and a few more things. And when we come back, Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. He's up next. It's on the Hill, and it's the A on KDSJ. 479. Let's get it.
I guess you've been playing some first base.
Yeah, quite a bit of it at practice. So just trying to get some work in there.
How's it coming?
I think pretty good so far. Just trying to. It's new to me. I've never played it there, so it's a big change. Fielding ground balls from fly balls, but you just gotta take your reps and get used to it.
How about the footwork aspect? Obviously, you got to get your foot on the base and all that stuff.
I think that's the easier part. Just because, but it's just all the different situations that can happen at first. There's so many different plays you have to practice, so it's just getting good at all of them.
Bunt coverage, a big problem, a big adjustment for you.
Yeah, for sure. I've never been a part of bunt coverage at all, so learning the different rotation or the wheel plays and all that has been a big play for me, and it's just learning them and memorizing them, so that way when we have to do it, we'll get the job done.
You know if you're going to play first base tomorrow?
I have no clue, but that's what I've been playing in the scrimmages, so I guess we'll see.
Has it affected your hitting any, trying to adjust to new defensive position?
No, just wherever I play on the field, my bat will still be there. That's why I'm in the lineup, is because I can swing it. So that's my main priority, is to hit, and then I'll play defense.
Welcome back. It's our A edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk. We do it each and every Friday. And real quick, before we move on to a guest that we all know you enjoy hearing, and I enjoy bringing him on for all the Razorback 411. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion, it's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting, residential, commercial, anything you need painting and need to look good, contact Corey Beck. You won't be disappointed. Our last and our newest sponsor, KDK's Chicken, located at 989 Razorback Road. Go see Keith and Kathy and get you a plate of that love. And like they say, it's not your mama's. That's chicken in the South. But on to what the main thing is, and that's Razorback football. So we thought we'd bring in, like I said, my good buddy, Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Scotty, welcome back, my man.
Appreciate you having me. You keep talking about KDKs, and I'll have to check it out sometime.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, you're missing out if you don't try the waffle cone and all those chicken chunks and whatnot. But Arkansas, big game tomorrow, a game that I think you and I and most people in the media expect Arkansas to go in and maybe see some younger guys. But when you walk into that stadium at 6:30, Scotty, what will you be watching in Game 4 of 2019?
Yeah, just see if the offense can build on what it did last week. I think the 520 yards of offense last week was the top mark since Chad Morris has been at Arkansas. I think it was sixth best in his coaching career. So it was that's really what you want to see. I mean, you made the quarterback change to see the offense hit another gear, and it did. And so I think this week you just want to see if the offense can sustain that. See if Starkle can hit on some of those deep throws that he missed last week. He threw for 305 yards and 3 touchdowns, but you feel like, man, he could have had a lot more.
Right.
Just if a couple of those deep balls had been completed. And then I think you want to see if the offensive line can continue to play well. Last week, Ty Clary played really well. He was Pro Football Focus National Team of the Week. He was the center on that team, and Ricky Stromberg played well again. He had a couple false start penalties, but he was solid. See if the running game can continue to make strides. And then defensively, I think Arkansas just needs to, I don't know if impose its will is the right phrase, but Arkansas needs to show some improvement in its run defense. Right now they're ranked last in the league, allowing about 177 yards a game on the ground.
Do you attribute that? I know that's a pretty hefty number for rushing yards on the ground, but do you attribute most of that to having so much youth? I believe there's 5 true freshmen on the defensive line, a redshirt freshman in Isaiah Nichols. Is that just attributed to the maturation and growing pains that Coach Morris has been telling us about all fall camp?
Yeah, I think some of it is that Mateo Soli, I think he's going to end up being a really good player at Arkansas right now. He's got that big club on his hand, and he's probably going to have to play with it for a majority of the season. And I know that's prohibiting him from probably getting off as many blocks as he'd like, setting the edge. And John Chavis talked about it Monday. They've got to do a better job at setting the edge, and they can make those checks and they can get into the right coverage. But I mean, if you don't get to the edge, bad things are going to happen. And we've seen like the first 3 weeks, teams have gotten on the outside on the perimeter and picked up some yardage, whether it be quarterbacks escaping pressure, or like the second play last week, just right up the gut, man. Just Scooter goes left and the running back goes right, and it's bad news. But some of it is a little bit of youth. Solely, I think, is going to be really solid. Zach Williams is down. Maybe getting Jamario Bell back this week will give you. He brings some maturity, and I mean, he's a physical presence, I think, on the line. But I think they'll be okay in the run game this week. San Jose State, I think, was last in the country in running the ball last year. So I expect them to bounce back. But that next test at Texas A&M next week, that's going to be a pretty big one.
I want to talk about the offensive line. I believe they've given up roughly 4 or 5 sacks 3 games into the season. There's a lot more pressures, a lot more physical hits. Last year at this time. Talk about their improvement and the job that Coach Justin Fry has been able to do with such a young line. I mean, this is a guy that dealt with 8 offensive linemen last year. He has more at his disposal. Talk about their growth and maturation, because there are not a lot of players outside of, Ty Clary, Colton Jackson, and Austin Capps that had a chance to play a lot of reps in the seasons leading up to this year.
Yeah, that's true. And I think you feel pretty good about the left side of your line because you got some – I mean, the left tackle, left guard, center are guys that have been there before. Like Colton Jackson is a veteran. He's a senior. So, he wants to go out strong. And Austin Capps, I think, is finally healthy. I think, he didn't really his name didn't come up a whole lot on Saturday, so you assume that's a pretty good thing. And Ty Clary had the best game of his career. Then on the right side, you feel pretty good about those guys too. Like Stromberg's played well the first 3 games of his career, and he's going to probably start at the right guard spot after starting at left guard the last 2 games. And then Dalton Wagner is a guy that, we haven't really heard a whole lot about, but that's probably, kind of like the long snapper. Like if you don't hear his name called just a whole lot, it's probably a good thing. Right. He's been okay at right guard or right tackle. I think they're all taking a step forward. And Ty Clary said this week they think the offensive line is probably as close as it's been in a long time. They're pretty tight with each other, and it's pretty hard to argue that they're not clicking all at the same time. When you have performances that allow Nick Starkel time to throw 300 yards, and then Rakeem Boyd and Devon Whaley both go for 80 plus. So I think they're playing pretty well right now.
The linebacker core, that's a position that I know going into this 2019 year had quite the question marks, and I think that was based on just the size. Devon McClure, I believe, about 220. Hayden running at about 227. Grant Morgan, Bumper Pool, all below the 230-pound range. But in my opinion, Scotty, it seems like this group gets better and better each and every Saturday. I thought Devon McClure and I thought Hayden Henry played outstanding last week versus Colorado State. Talk about that linebacker core, and if Bumper Pool is on a snap count, let's talk about Andrew Parker. He was a guy that I thought to see. Do you expect to see him? And if so, could that be another addition to that linebacker core going forward that this ball club really would love to add?
I think so. And, talk about the linebackers, obviously starts with Scooter and whoever goes out on the field with him. And, if Bumper is on a snap count, like you said, it does give away to guys like Andrew Parker. And, I like Andrew Parker, and I asked about him a lot during the spring just because I think he's got a lot of ability that could help you, and whether it be just guys surpassing him just as far as picking up the scheme or what, or maybe they like him more on special teams like kickoff return and punt return, that kind of thing. I think Saturday could probably be an opportunity for him to just go out and show that he's ready to play when his name's called. Because Hayden Henry is kind of struggling with a shoulder too, so that's probably two of your top four linebackers that are maybe questionable, maybe even doubtful for Saturday, and so that's a lot of opportunity for Deion Edwards and Andrew Parker to jump in there. And I've been waiting on Andrew Parker to break out. I talked to him during the summer, and he's a really confident dude. And if he ever gets on the field, I feel like he could do some damage. But we'll have to, I guess, wait and see what Hayden Henry and Bunker Pool's status are. But I figure there'll be plenty of guys getting some opportunity. And Devon McClure with his maturity and his aggression, man, that dude plays. He plays so hard and plays so aggressive. I don't see how they could keep him off the field.
You look at the secondary. Coach Chavis has told us in the last couple of weeks they intend to get more of their younger guys like Jalen Catalon, Devin Bush, and those guys more reps to prepare them because they're going to be counted on as the season goes on, with it being such a long season. Talk about that back end and that. How important is it for Saturday to be a game that they can get those younger guys in and get them some reps heading into next week, conference game number 2 versus the Aggies?
Yeah, I think this is a big week. Like if Arkansas can go out and put some points up on the board early and maybe have this game settled by halftime, it's going to be a freshman showcase in the second half, more or less. We've been hearing that Monteric Brown might not be able to start tomorrow, so it might be an opportunity for Ladarius Bishop, to go out and try to build on his play in the fourth quarter last week. He had a pass breakup and obviously ran the fumble that Hayden Henry forced back 25 yards for a touchdown. That was a big confidence boost for him, I think, because he came out of Ashdown really highly regarded. He was a 4-star recruit. I think he was like a top 30 cornerback in the country out of high school. So he expected to play last year right away, and it just didn't happen. Ended up redshirting. And, he told me on Tuesday that he's been a little bit down. I don't know if it's on himself or just that he hasn't gotten to see the field as much as he wanted, but he's ready, man. I think he's chomping at the bit to go get more snaps. And, he only played, I think, 4 snaps as a freshman and only one in pass coverage. So he's really, I think, kind of antsy to get on the field to kind of prove himself. And maybe this week, if the game gets a little bit out of hand, you can see guys like Jalen Catalon get in there, and maybe Malik Chavis too. We haven't seen him, I don't think, yet. So, like I said, like if it's out of hand at halftime, it could be a underclassmen showcase in the second half, which would be good for those guys.
Talking with Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette here on the A. It's the OTH part of our show. Scotty, got about a minute and a half left in the segment. I want you to give me your offensive player, your defensive player, and the final score of tomorrow night's ball game between Arkansas and the San Jose State Spartans.
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, I'll go with Nick Starkel. I think he just continues to gain confidence at the quarterback spot. And I don't know if he'll throw for 300 yards again, but I expect, 2, 3, maybe 4 more touchdowns. The guy is very comfortable in his skin, and he's very confident in his arm and his playmakers. So that gives me a lot of reason to go that direction. I think the offense puts up plenty of points. Is able to run away with it comfortably. As far as defense, I don't know. I think, Scuda might try to keep building on last week. I think he had a season high 12 tackles last week, and finally looked like himself for the first time this season, I think. Maybe Sosa. Maybe Sosa's been pretty disruptive up front the first few weeks, and it's caused some turnovers. And he wasn't credited with the forced fumble or the touchdown or the fumble recovery or anything on Ladarius Bishop's score, but he was the guy that turned the play back inside, and that kind of stuff can't get overlooked, and it's definitely not by the coaches. And I think he has a big day. I think San Jose State wants to throw it around a little bit. He's probably ready to get in the backfield and cause some problems. So I'll go with Nick Starkel on offense, Sosa on defense, and I'll go with the 49-13 final score.
All right, Scotty. Well, I'll catch you up in the press box tomorrow evening. But as always, my man, love having you on and love having your insight. Thanks for taking time out here on the A and OTH today, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man.
All right. That was Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. We're going to play more excerpts of Arkansas baseball media availability. And then next up might be the in-studio guest. You never know. You just have to come back and see. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit. Let's get it.
On your favorite day of the year, Valentine's Day this year, February 14th. Some freshmen that have an opportunity to get in the lineup at different positions, and they'll probably play more towards the end of the games.
What's your pitching rotation?
I think we're going to start Kevin Kopps and then probably go with Wick Lander and then Connor Nolan after that. And those guys, if it goes good, might all go around 2 innings max. And then maybe we'll just run a bunch of single innings out there, 1 inning piece for a bunch of guys.
And the plan, if weather permits, is play 9 and then take a little break and then play 5 more.
Play 14 innings, and there won't be much of a break. Last year was too big a break. The umpires went in and changed that. We've worked it out where we'll probably drag the field after 9 and get it going again. And maybe we have 3 umpires to start, but when that's going on, we have 2. Game's starting later. We're going to try to, maybe we're taking a 7 or 8 minute break from the 9th to the 10th, and then take it on into midnight probably. So.
Yeah, 7:30 is at like Oklahoma. Can you get over here?
Well, the way it works is you're not supposed to miss class. So they're having to wait for most of their guys or all their guys to get out of class so they can get over here. Last year, Wichita State, the way their schedule worked out, most of their guys were out on Friday early. So, and the ones that weren't, they actually came a little later. So Oklahoma will get here in plenty of time to get all their pregame work in, but that's why we pushed it back to 7:30. Yeah, we would like to play to 6:30 or 7, but it didn't work out. It's just the way it goes.
Connor mentioned Tom as a guy he's had a hard time getting out. What's impressed you about him?
He's got a good swing. He's confident. It's about the swing though, and he's laid off borderline pitches early in the count, and he's strong. Connor gave up a long home run to Tomez the first pitch he threw to him because he just tried to sneak a fastball by him after having a great first inning. Tomez led off the second inning, and he got all of it. And so we kind of kid him about it, but it was a big swing for Tomez. Good confidence booster. But he's just a good hitter. He played summer ball for the Midland Redskins, hitting the 3-hole for him, and he's just a tough out.
I'm impressed how Heston's taken to first. Or he's just a good athlete and he's a good baseball.
Well, Heston has a really good attitude, number one, and he was all in. It was fine. His comment to me was, "It'll help the team." This was a couple of days later after we talked about it, and because I kind of asked him again, "How you feeling about this? So you want to do this?" And he's like, "Coach, I'm good. I think it'll make us a better team if I can play over here some or all or whatever." And that's when he threw that comment out there again. I can play outfield anytime. I can get a field. But I'm going to work at it first.
Welcome back. I told you we had a special in-studio guest. It's the A. You got to have somebody that takes pride in the A. And what better way than to bring in my good friend and former Arkansas wide receiver. Yeah, you seen former New Orleans Saint. That's Boo Williams. Boo.
Hey.
Welcome up, my man.
Hey, my man. I'm just happy to be here. It's been a long drive. I came up from Panama City Beach where I live. Been in Tulsa. My company is based out of Tulsa. Right. And I decided to come on down and check out my Razorbacks, as I always do.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Razorbacks.
Please, let's do, because I got some things I want to get off my chest.
You were at fall camp a few weeks ago. You had a chance to see those big receivers.
Yep.
Talk about that group, in your estimation, and what's the ceiling for a guy like Trey Knox? Traylon Burks, and those guys?
Well, I'm gonna start off first with Traylon Burks. I watched this young man on several occasions, and this guy is a tremendously hard worker.
Right.
He works his butt off to the core, and that was one thing that I liked about him, because that was one thing about me is when I played here, I took practice serious. Not like Allen Iverson say, we're talking about practice. Practice. But no, man, he takes it very, very, very serious. And, it has no choice but to show up in the games.
Right.
It's one area, that concerns me about, the offense, but it's not the receivers. Trey Knox is a tremendous athlete.
Right.
I tell everyone that I come across, he's going to go down probably as one of the best receivers to ever come through here.
Well, I want to talk to you about the difference between Nick Starkel and Ben Hicks. Just seeing that in the second half of Ole Miss, as soon as Nick was inserted into that lineup, you could tell the pace and speed in which they were playing offensive football dramatically changed, and it was a carryover to last week. Is that something that you saw in fall camp when you were over at the Smith Center?
Yeah, that was definitely something that I seen, and not just that, it's the players they follow him.
Right.
The guys they follow him. He's a good kid. Everyone likes him, and it's a thing of when guys see their quarterback, going just as hard as everyone else, they'll run through a brick wall for you.
Right.
Me personally, I was kind of shocked to see the starter that started the season, but I knew eventually that Nick would take over the keys to the car, and I talked to him, and we sat down, we ate lunch together, and it was one thing that I told him is, man, utilize your big receivers.
Right.
I mean, you got these big guys. These guys got they're rangy. They have a huge long catch radius. So some windows you don't have to fit in the tight windows with Trey Knox.
Right.
You just put it up there and he's going to go get it.
Absolutely.
And I'm appalled, as they would say, as he has only 13 catches for 216 yards and 1 touchdown. That is, I can say, ridiculous. Because guy like this, Pat, you got to get him the ball.
Absolutely.
You got to put the ball in his hands, because when he gets the ball in his hands, he's going to make some things happen, and he's going to get the morale of his team up.
Right. And that's the thing in the press conference that we had with Nick last week. He said that the one thing he told Trey was, every time I see you in a one-on-one, I'm going to throw you the ball.
I'm taking it.
And I think that's what, really invigorates this football team. I mean, and also I want to talk to you about the youth of this football team. You and I have talked about that as well. 5,200 classmen, and to a fan base, is it something that these fans are just going to have to watch the maturation of this football team? There'll be good moments, bad moments, but that's just part of the process that they have to go through with the game reps.
Yeah, and like you said, man, these guys are young. Like Trey Burke, he's a sophomore.
Right.
Trey Knox, he's a freshman.
Oh, Trey Burks is a freshman.
Yeah, freshman. And these guys are young, man, and that's what some of the fans, they got to really realize that these guys are growing together.
Right.
This is coaches with his third season,
Second.
and his second season, and you have to get your guys established first.
Right.
You can only say he has a sophomore class.
Right.
That's it. And you have to give him more time. You have to give him time to get his players in, and for the offense and the defense that he can run. I played in the NFL for several years, and everyone knows when that new coach comes in, everyone's maybe on the chopping block because he wants his guys.
Yes.
And that's exactly how it goes here. But the difference is you're dealing with teenagers and kids.
You had a chance to come back several years ago and see the Brett Bielema area. In your opinion, but what is the difference from a Chad Morris recruited player as opposed to a Brett Bielema recruited player, in your opinion?
Family. everybody feels like family on the team. I can tell you that from, I mean, I get chill bumps when I talk about it. That's the only reason why I came to the University of Arkansas. It's because Coach Nutt and Fitzgerald Hill created that family type of atmosphere to where, you know, everyone was together. And you can see it when these guys go just to go eat. You know, you don't see the same guys eating with each other the same. These guys are intermingling with each other. These guys, you know, they really feel like they're a family. And I can tell from Coach Shep, you know, Coach Shep, his receivers, you know, they love his kids love him. And that's certain things that you look at when you're trying to put a team together, is the togetherness. And I can definitely tell you it's a big difference from from Coach Bielema to the new regime.
Talking with Boo Williams, former Arkansas Razorback, former I should say New Orleans Saint, in the studio with us here on OTH. I told you we had a special guest. I told you. Real quick, we're going to keep Boo on. We'll be bringing on Otis Kirk, and then Boo's going to stay on and do the SEC picks with us to close out this show. But, you know, a lot of people said, you know, there's a lot of questions about Chad being able to get this program to a nationally known program. Is that something, in your opinion, that Coach Morris can do if given the time?
I think he can, but it's just so hard when you're recruiting in the SEC.
Right.
And you're recruiting against Alabama. You're recruiting against Georgia. You're recruiting against all these other schools. And it's not like your Pac-10 conference, you know, where, hey, we can just slap the duck on our helmet and put the uniforms out there and say, hey, everybody come play with us and run the Pac-10. This is not that easy. And, you know, with these guys these days, they're bigger, faster, and stronger than ever. So walking into, you know, coaches walking into mom and father's homes and trying to recruit their players, the thing is, what can you tell them different than the other school that the other school hasn't told them already?
Great point. Well, that's going to, we'll be back here in a moment. We have coming up Otis Kirk of Hogville.net. Time to talk a little more Razorbacks. Get you ready for tomorrow's 6:30 p.m. kickoff. And then you know what time it is. It's the SEC picks of the weekend. We all love to get in on that. It's on the Hill, and it's the 8 on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
And those guys, if it goes good, might all go around 2 innings max. And then maybe we'll just run a bunch of single innings out there, 1 inning apiece for a bunch of guys.
And the plan, if weather permits, is play 9 and then take a little break and then play 5 more?
Play 14 innings, and there won't be much of a break. Last year was too big a break. The umpires went in and changed that. We've worked it out where we'll probably drag the field after 9 and get it going again. And maybe we have 3 umpires to start, but when that's going on, we have 2. Game's starting later. We're going to try to, you know, maybe we're taking a 7 or 8 minute break from the 9th to the 10th, and then take it on into midnight probably. So.
Yeah, 7:30 is added like Oklahoma couldn't get over here.
Well, the way it works is you're not supposed to miss class. So they're having to wait for most of their guys or all their guys to get out of class so they can get over here. Last year, Wichita State, the way their schedule worked out, most of their guys were out on Friday early. So, and the ones that weren't, they actually came a little later. So Oklahoma will get here in plenty of time to get all their pregame work in. But that's why we pushed it back to 7:30. Yeah, we would like to play at 6:30 or 7, but it didn't work out. It's just the way it goes.
Connor mentioned Thomas as a guy he's had a hard time getting out. What's impressed you about him?
He's got a good swing. He's confident. You know, it's about the swing though, and he's laid off borderline pitches early in the count, and he's strong. You know, Connor gave up a long home run to Thomas the first pitch he threw to him because he just tried to sneak a fastball by him after having a great first inning. Thomas led off the second inning, and he got all of it. And you know, so we kind of kid him about it, but it was a big swing for Thomas. You know, good confidence booster. But he's just a good hitter. You know, he played summer ball for the Midland Redskins, hitting the 3-hole for him, and you know, he's just a tough out.
I'm impressed how Heston's taken to first. Are you just a good athlete? Just good baseball?
Well, Heston has a really good attitude, number one, and he was all in. You know, it was fine. his comment to me was it'll help the team. You know, this was a couple of days later after we talked about it, and because I kind of asked him again, how you feeling about this? Still, you want to do this? And he's like, Coach, I'm good. I think it'll make us a better team if I can play over here some or all or whatever. And you know, that's when he threw that comment out there again. I can play outfield anytime. I can get a few, but I'm going to work at it first. And I think he's taken to it well. You know, he catches the ball well. He fields well. He's got an accurate arm, and I think he kind of likes being in the infield.
With Goodhart, is his first an option when he comes back, or is it probably in the outfield?
No, it'll be an option. The problem is, you know, how's he going to throw? You know, I think the bat should be ahead of the arm. You know, you're talking you reference it a little bit, a Trevor Ezel type injury, and you know, you saw how he threw, and he had surgery earlier. You know, just a little bit earlier. So it's just going to take some time. I think he's looking at DHing and playing first, and that's what's so frustrating for him is that this fall was going to be big for him to work.
Welcome back. And we continue on with it just gets better. We have Boo Williams sitting in studio with us. That's a plus. We have Scotty Borland of the Democrat Gazette. That's a plus. We ain't got nothing but pluses, so we got to keep it going. Otis Kirk of Hogville.net. Otis, welcome back, my man.
Yeah, Boo Williams, first time I ever interviewed him, Pat, was up in Coffeeville. The high school.
And he's been very consistent. He's probably pitched better than a couple of the other guys that are pitching behind him. So we said, hey, he's been here a while. Let's let him start the game.
You said Webb.
Well, he dove in left center, made a really nice catch yesterday, and kind of jammed his shoulder, and had an MRI this morning, and it's clear. He has some strains and swelling. He had a little trouble lifting it right now. It's just, you know, just a shoulder injury without a tear. So, you know, I think he'll be out for a week or so, and hopefully he'll be able to play in our next outside competition game against Oklahoma State.
You mentioned Gregory. He had a pretty good summer, it looked like. What did you see different from him?
Well, confidence number one, and then we put him in the outfield, and I think it frees him up a little bit to just run and catch the ball. He's got a really good arm, and he shows it from out there. He can walk. He gets walked a lot. You know, this summer he walked like upper 60s in a summer league. We didn't have anybody walk that any time our whole season. And plus he's hit a little bit. You know, he's left-handed. He sprays it. He can steal a base. You know, I think he'll be a good, you know, he might start for us all year. He may be a utility guy, but, you know, he's a guy that I think could score some runs for us. So I just feel like, you know, he went out and earned it in the summer, came back, showed he was better, and he's had a good fall. He deserves to play.
It's a big difference, but I like having him over there.
Heston mentioned Blake Adams. How's he looking so far?
He's looking really good. He's he fills up the zone, solid freshman, and he's got the mindset to do it, so I expect big things out of him.
David said he's going to try to do two ways. I mean, have you faced him at all, like as a hitter?
I did. I faced him one time, and I think he got a hit. So he's doing good. He's swinging it well. He's throwing it well, so I'm really proud of him for coming in here and competing.
What's your take on the hitters you faced in the floor ball?
We got a lot of good bats in the lineup. I mean, 1 through 9, everybody can do damage, and you know, it's good to see that out of hitters early in the year.
Have any of those new hitters been particularly difficult for you to get out?
I've had trouble with Thomas. He's a new freshman catcher, and I've had trouble getting him out a couple times. So he's done a good job attacking fastballs, and he's hitting the ball well.
Are you starting tomorrow night, do you know?
No, I'm not. I think Kevin is or somebody, but I'm going to throw 1 or 2 innings tomorrow.
What's it mean going up against Oklahoma as a scrimmage?
That means a lot. I mean, obviously we've been practicing against each other for 2 weeks now, so it's good to get out there and see some new faces and people that haven't seen your pitches before. So it'll be a different experience and give you a taste of the year.
Does it add a little bit that it's not, Oklahoma Wesleyan? I don't even know if there is an Oklahoma Wesleyan, but it's OU, it's the big boys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's good to get an opponent in here that's like Oklahoma. I mean, they got a good team, and it's just early in the year to face a team like that. It's gonna be good for us to progress and see where we're at.
How many years had you been juggling football and baseball on an organized level?
It's been a while, probably since like 6th grade.
So what's it like not playing football?
I mean, it's hard to watch. Obviously I miss it, but I had baseball and I've been focused on that and having a good time over here. So it's been an easy transition.
You just go to the games as a fan, or what do you do?
Yes, I go to the games as a fan. It's a good time. I like seeing my guys out there, and they're doing well, so it's good to see.
Watch the 71st Annual Emmys, Sunday, September 22nd on Fox with YouTube TV.
We're back with the A. I think we got it all worked out, and I want to get on to our guest, Otis Kirk. Otis, let's talk about the Hogs. What are some things that you're going to be looking for when you get to Donald W. Reynolds tomorrow evening at 6:30? Are you there, Otis?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can now. There for a second I couldn't, Pat. Sorry about that.
Let's get off into it. What are your game keys tomorrow night versus San Jose State for the Razorbacks, in your opinion?
Well, I think the Razorbacks just need to go out and take control of the game early. You don't want to let a team like San Jose stay around. The longer you let them stick around, anything can happen. We've seen fluke plays in both home games. I mean, Portland State scored on a fluke play there to get to 13, and then last week, Cam goes out of the game and they hit that 75-yard touchdown pass, to tie it back up at 34. Just plays where anything can happen with a one-score game. You want to go ahead and take control of the game, get them out of it, and, hopefully get some experience with some of these other guys and just get some more confidence for the players. They're going to need that going into A&M next weekend.
I'm sitting there with Boo, and he mentioned Nick Starkel. You and I have always felt that Nick should have been the initial starter. Unfortunately, had to go roughly about 6 quarters before he got the nod. Talk about Nick and how he's able, to stretch the football field. You can't put 8 in the box, and I'm a firm believer that when you're really solid in the box, you're going to be real solid over the top. Is that something that you're starting to see with Nick under center?
Oh yeah, he can use the wide. I mean, he can get the ball deep to the wide receivers, and that's something that Ty didn't do that well last year. And of course, he didn't have some of the receivers they've got now. But it was an issue last year with the quarterbacks, and then and Ben wasn't getting the ball down the field deep to the guys, and they can stretch the field. When you've got guys that can stretch the field, and quarterback like Starkle, and then receivers like Burks and Knox and Cheyenne and Mike Woods and so on and so the list goes on and on, and you're going to back those people off the line of scrimmage and putting 8, 9 people in the box. I mean, they stack that box. It's hard to run against that. You've got 5 offensive linemen blocking against 7 or 8 people, and so I mean, I know the tight end block stuff, but I mean you're basically anything if you can back him off the line, and that's what Starkle can do. He's a threat to get 6 points on a play.
Well, Mr. How you doing?
It is going great, man. I was saying earlier, Boo, the first time I ever saw you was up at Coffeyville. They played at the high school. You guys played at the high school then before Coffeyville had this great stadium they've got now. And it was muddy that day, man. I mean, it was a mud bowl. And you guys won, if I remember right. And you had a good game. I know that. And I got a picture of you. I remember you had that towel out there wiping get that mud off. And I mean, my camera was mud. It was a mess that day.
I knew exactly what game he was talking about. He was talking about Independence.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was a good game, and you guys, it was like you had a great game and everything, but man, it was pouring that day, and it was grass field, and it was like I said, it was at the old high school there, and it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed that, and it was. I remember that well because that was the first time I'd ever seen, but I'd heard great things about him, and then of course he signed here, and played, and then got to see him several times, including that big catch against Tennessee up here.
Well, my people back in my hometown, Tallahassee, Florida, they was kind of upset about that. I was supposed to return back to Florida State, but that didn't happen. And everyone asked, everyone was like, "How in the world did Houston Nutt steal you away from Florida State?" And I tell most people that it was the family atmosphere that he created here. He was one of those coaches that he pushed you to the limit. He encouraged you, and I think that's what kind of coach Chad Morris is. He's a real good coach that he really encourages his players to be the best. But one question I got to ask you, Otis, is with all the great receivers that these guys might have, the good quarterback that they have, there's one thing that you can't forget, and that is the up front line. Because if you cannot protect your quarterback, I don't care if you got, Tom Brady back there.
Right.
And if you can't protect him, for him to make all of his reads, then those receivers that we have are just able bodies that's out there that's not getting used because of the offensive line. What do you think that the offensive line matches up with some of the defensive line, like Georgia, like Alabama? What do you think about the offensive line, and how can they match up with these guys?
Well, it'll be interesting to see because they protected the quarterback fairly well at Ole Miss, but they didn't open holes for the running game, and that's something they've got to do both. And it's going to be interesting to see next weekend. We're going to get a real look at how the offensive line is next week when they play A&M, because A&M's got some big kids up front, as does Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and Auburn, all the schools we talk about in the SEC, especially that upper tier. But yeah, I think next week will be interesting. I think it's still to be determined, to answer your question on the offensive line. I think it's better than people are giving it. Some people are giving it credit for. They're still mad about the offensive line. I think it's better than that, but I think it's better than it was last year. But man, they inherited a mess here on the offensive line. I mean, what I'm talking about, and I'm not knocking any players, I'm talking about numbers wise. There was times last year where Dustin Fry had 8, 9 healthy scholarship players at practice. Lots of practices, and it didn't even have 10 scholarship offensive linemen. Right. And I think that was a mess they've inherited, and it takes a while to get that back up. So I don't think they're where they need to be, but I think they're getting there, to answer your question.
And you see that, Pat, what he said was, like we were saying before, Coach, he needs to get his guys in. Absolutely. And because that's the same thing that, the Florida State coach is going through right now. Ooh. He's been set up for failure there. He's been set up.
Him trash.
Jimbo left him high and dry. But the thing is, when coaches leave like that, they know they're leaving behind nothing. Right. So that next coach that comes in, he's at the mercy of the university and the fans, because he's required to come in and win now. Right. And it's hard to come in and win now when you don't have your set of players that you like.
Which leads us into the next question, Otis, before we get on to
exactly
our picks.
Right. And sometimes it's a deal where, and you know this better than I do, Boo, and I know Pat, but sometimes it's a matter of they don't fit your system. They may not be bad players, but sometimes they just don't fit the system. You went from a run-based offense with Bielema, recruiting bigger offensive line, run-based
offensive line,
a different up-tempo offense with Chad Moore. So you're completely changing the offense. And so I know they threw the ball there with Dan and stuff at quarterback coach, but I'm just saying that they recruited more to a power game, whereas Chad relies more on the up-tempo, that type game. And I think a lot of stuff, Ty Clary is really coming on this year, and I don't think it's coincidence. It took him a year to learn in the system. I think Colton Jackson's playing better, and Dalton Wagner, they've had a year in the system. Austin Cap, you can see they're playing better because they've had a year in that system. And that's what I said earlier. I think they're not where they need to be, or where you can they're going to go out and dominate A&M or Alabama or something. I think they're getting there. I think they've taken a big step in a year, probably more so than maybe could have been expected considering the shape the numbers and stuff they got left with. I thought that's the position on the offensive side of the ball that they really got left.
Me
really
personally,
kind of dry.
Me
Yeah.
personally, I thought Beetleman, he came here with this attitude. I'm gonna just tell you straight up.
Tough on Coach B.
I was really tough on him because thing is, you can't come into this league, into the SEC, before you get here and say it's overrated.
Right.
So when you get here and you get your head beat in, now
he said he was going to do something that was never done and bring him something.
Yeah, he said a lot of things that kind of left people shaking their heads. I wasn't.
Which leads me to this question.
I was the biggest Brett Bielema fan, so
it's
but I thought it was a bad fit for this job. I really did. I just thought he was a bad fit for this job. And once Tim Pittman left, the offensive line really took a step back.
Well, you know who I was pushing for afterwards. You know who I was pushing for after Billman left.
Who's you want?
I was trying to bring the Nut House back.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
Houston.
Listen,
he loves Coach Nut. But real quick before we get into our picks, recruiting. Could you give the listeners and viewers
some? I think Chad Morris has got a lot of the traits that Houston had to be when Houston was successful here all those years.
He reminds me of him.
I'm
telling you,
he reminds me a little bit of Coach Broad.
I've seen a lot of the similar traits. For one thing, they actually got the recruiting footprint.
Right.
I mean, Bielema came in here and talked about Texas was overrated. Didn't know. 2 or 3 years later, didn't know Tulsa was that close to Arkansas. Thought Memphis was overrated. Like the Big Ten, thought all those kids wanted to come down and play in the SEC. And most of the ones that did want to go to Florida or Alabama or somewhere, Georgia, I mean, he got Frank Ragnow, but for the most part, and he got Dalton up there, but he didn't get a whole lot of players there that actually contributed.
Because his style of football was really just run based. And when you're playing in the SEC, you can't keep running the ball 30, 20 times against Alabama, because when they stuff you, then you got to put the ball in the air. And if you can't put the ball in the air, then you're definitely a dead fish in water.
Which leads me to this question, Otis.
It'll be interesting how that all plays out. But I think Chad Morris is going to do a good job. If people will just give him time, I think he's going to do fine. I really do.
Who are some of the official or unofficial visitors that will be making their way to Fayetteville?
As you said, it's not going to happen It didn't happen overnight, nor will it.
Right.
I'm coming out of retirement, man. I'm coming out of retirement. Bring back the 23.
Are you ready? Because I think I'm ready. Demetrius, you got that music fired up. We about to get it cranked up because it's the SEC Picks of the Week, joined by my good buddy, longtime friend, former Arkansas Razorback, and former New Orleans Saint.
Yes.
You still mad about that call last season?
You know what I tell people? That's what I tell them. But this is what they get mad at me. I was in the box. I went to the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up in the box. It's me, Pat Swillen, Ricky Jackson, couple other guys. And when that play happened, all of us said, okay, they didn't make the call. 2 plays later, they're on the goal line. The first play on first down, instead of running the ball, he tried to pass it. So that stopped the clock. They had 2 timeouts. So now when you're running on second down, timeout. Now when you're running on third down, timeout. So now you kick the field goal. Now you give them the ball with over a minute on the clock. But all you had to do was run the ball the first time. And not to mention, Pat.
I thought about you when all that went down.
Pat, they got the ball first in overtime.
So
I tell people, like, you can't say that call. That was a call, blown call. Right. It's a bunch of blown calls in games.
Right.
That one just so happened to be magnified because of the time. But it's all these calls in the games.
Right.
But when it came to getting off the field, the Rams got off the field.
You did that.
And the Rams offense did what they had to do. Because if you see the next game with Tom Brady, did he give the Chiefs another chance to get back on the field?
Well, that was bogus calls in that one too.
Oh yeah, well the offsides got him.
Yeah, everybody loves Brady. But let's get off into these picks. Are you ready, Otis? Because I'm ready. So let's rock and roll. First game up, Southern Mississippi travels to Tuscaloosa to take on Roll Tide. Where we at, Otis? You there, Otis?
Otis is gone.
Otis left us.
Otis,
we're gonna do it.
Otis,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Barely. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I can barely hear you.
Otis, you out there in the country, man. You got to come out the woods.
No, man, I'm in town. I don't know. It sounds like passing the next county.
Well, our first pick was Southern Miss versus Alabama. Where you at on that one?
I can't hear him.
He can't hear me.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Southern Miss versus Alabama.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking about.
Alabama.
I'm going with Bama.
If you go with Southern Miss, you so wrong. Nick Saban must be going to be sick or something.
Next up will be A&M and Auburn.
Yeah.
A&M Auburn.
Yeah, A&M and Auburn. What you got?
I'm gonna go with Auburn. I'm gonna pick a.
Tell me.
I don't know who's favorite. I'm gonna go with Auburn.
Give me one reason why you're going with Auburn. I need one reason why you're going with Auburn.
I'm a Gus guy.
I
like Gus.
Auburn is a lucky team. They'll find a way to win this game.
He said he's lucky.
Man, I'm gonna go with Auburn. I think they will be the better team.
They seem to always find a way. Well, not always, but they seem to find a way to win games, man.
And also too, when you think about it, the home team always seems to win that game between A&M and Auburn. Next up,
we got Florida and Tennessee. What you got?
Florida.
Man, I'm gonna tell you guys. I thought this game before Felipe went down was gonna be a blowout. He goes down. I'm not sure. Then I watched Tennessee kind of have an outburst of points, putting over 40 piece on their last opponent. I think it's a close one.
Don't get tricked by that one.
But I'll take the Gators.
Well, I don't think Felipe Franks is from my area.
Yeah.
He's from Wakulla.
Yeah.
I'm from Tallahassee, Florida. And I'm gonna tell you this. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I just think that he has the intangibles because he's 6'5", 6'6".
Right.
He has, the body. He's kind of smart, but at the same time, he doesn't possess that dog mentality.
Right.
Because I know where he's from. They don't play anybody. He's from Wakulla County. They don't play too many big opponents.
Right.
So when you get to Florida, your biggest opponent might be Kent State.
Oh.
So
who we got up next? Who we got?
Well, to the next pick.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we got Georgia and Notre Dame.
I'm gonna go with Georgia. I think they win.
Georgia got some athletes over there.
Best offensive line.
Yeah.
Best offensive line coach.
I think it might not even be that
A
close.
veteran quarterback.
How long Swift is going to be there? Swift been there 10 years, ain't he?
Man, he's probably the best running back in the SEC. DeAndre is big time. I think he and the Vaughn kid at Vanderbilt, to me,
You can't forget about the kid at
who you got?
I can't remember now. South Carolina, the transfer.
You're right. Peaster or
Yes,
transfer
Feaster
from Clemson.
Yes,
Yes.
he is a exceptionally hard runner.
Who we got up next?
Man, we got Kentucky and South Carolina.
Or Mississippi State.
Oh, Mississippi State, Kentucky and Mississippi State. My bad.
Yeah, I'll go with Mississippi State, but I'm hesitant, but I'll go with Mississippi State. But no reason, just they're at home's the only reason.
History tells me that
Kentucky's
going to win this game.
Because that's a big game for them.
And Mississippi State's had a lot of trouble with Kentucky here over the last year. And I think Mark Stoops got it going. And I like their big offensive line. Big and physical.
Well, whatever happened to the times where Mississippi State used to get all the junior college players?
I'm trying to still figure that out.
Because not too many colleges
used to be the junior college SEC school where if you were in JUCO, that's pretty much where you went to. That stank deal is what I call it.
Yeah, I hate that cowbell. I hate that cowbell.
Crazy,
I know it.
Who we got up next?
Next pick, we got LSU in Northwestern. Oh, is it Vanderbilt?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness. LSU and Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I'm going with LSU. I think they take that game. They're pretty good.
The smartest player is always the best players, man. Go with Vanderbilt.
See, I'm a big Derek Mason guy, but No. Too much Burrow, too much air attack. LSU's gonna win this. It's not a matter of if. It's just by how much in that ball game.
Well, what's surprising me is LSU finally got a quarterback.
See, that's the scary thing.
That is so scary
because I always knew they had all the athletes, even when you played.
Yeah.
They never had that
quarterback,
that under center. Man,
that kid is good.
Joe Burrow is the real deal.
I watched him, and he knows exactly where he's going with the ball. He takes total control over the offense.
And with the big addition of the former offense coordinator from the Saints.
Oh, I can tell you this now. They're running the Saints offense.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking out there in the field. They're running Sean Payton's offense.
Oh, wow. We all saw what that has produced for the Saints the last 2.5, 3 years.
Well, me personally, for me being a former Saint, I love my guys, but me personally, I just think Sean Payton and Drew Brees are just record breakers.
Absolutely.
They're record breakers because there's no way that you can tell me that they have the most wins, third most wins with coach and player, and all of these records Drew Brees possesses in one championship.
Right. Who we got up next, my man?
Oh, what we got up next? We got Mississippi State.
Oh, you say Ole Miss in California?
Is it Ole Miss? I was jumping.
Cal Berkeley. Where you going, Otis?
Ole Miss.
Cal in that game.
Ooh. You going with the air raid attack out there in Cal?
I think so. I mean, I'll go with Cal. There again, it wouldn't surprise me if Ole Miss gets them, but I think I'm not sold on Ole Miss completely.
I'm staying with the SEC. Even though they knocked off Arkansas, I'm staying with Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss gets a win in this one.
Well, next we got Missouri and South Carolina.
That will be a good one. The Battle of Columbia.
I'll take Missouri.
I take South Carolina in a steak dinner when they win, Otis.
Helinski, the new true freshman quarterback.
There's a lot of toss-up games this week, and that's one of them. There's a bunch of them. I mean, most of these games are basically toss-ups.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll wrap us. I think that's going to wrap it up for our picks. Nope. The main one. Arkansas and San Jose State. First, you got to come up with your offensive player, defensive player, and final score.
I'm taking the Razorbacks. My offensive player, I want to go with my guy Trey Knox, man. I think he's going to have
You're a TN fan. I know that.
Yeah, listen.
TK, I should say.
He knows that Mr. Boo Williams is his number one fan.
And I can attest to that because when you were at my house about 2 weeks ago, we were visiting, and I think it was Traylon Burks, Mike Woods. They were just inundated, messages through IG. So I can attest to that.
Man, I'm telling you, those guys. I just like the way, like Traylon Burks. I like the way he works, man, because that's the way I worked when I was in school, and it was all about putting that best foot forward in practice and taking practice like it was a game. Right. So when it was game time, it was just it was easy. And one thing he's really hard on himself. Yeah. He's really hard. He dropped a few balls. He's hard on himself. But when it comes to hard work, he's not afraid of that. But I'll tell you what, Trey Knox, that's my number one guy right there.
TK, your offensive player, who's defensive? You gonna go with Scooter?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him because what's the linebacker's name? Dijon.
Scooter.
Yeah, I like him. He plays fast.
Yes.
He plays with a instinct, and he gets the other guys to play behind him.
Right.
And that's one thing that like Quentin Caver possessed. Right. He possessed that I'm going to play so hard that the other guys are going to follow.
Absolutely.
And I think he's
5'3" could go.
Oh.
5'3" could flat out get it.
Man, look. You see that what it just gave me?
Boy, ball that, hey, look, his hair is standing there.
Hey, boy, when they talk about Quentin Caver.
That's going to wrap up our show for today. Tune in on Monday. We'll have more wrap-up. You can follow us tomorrow at the game as we'll have post-game interviews with coaches and players following the ball game. It's going to be a late night, but we'll be there, and we hope you'll be back here on Monday as well. It's on the hill. I got to give my love to my sponsors. Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion is located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. If you need it to look good, you better call Corey. You won't be disappointed. And our last sponsor, KDK's Chicken, located at 989 Razorback Road. Go down and see Keith and Kathy and get your plate of that love. And like they say, it's not your mama's best chicken in the South.
I might have to go see him.
I want to give a thank you to our guest, Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, also to Boo Williams, former Arkansas Razorback and New Orleans Saint, and lastly, for taking part in our picks, Otis Kirk of Hallville.net. That'll do it. For myself, from our producer Demetrius, to you all. You guys have a blessed one. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.